Hey there, baseball fans. Nathan Rohde, Shooter Hunt, and Doug Freeman here with the latest episode of Coffee and Curveballs. Shooter, we're continuing our look around the country at winter events. So today we've got Florida up with a couple of events that they've been to recently. So Doug, appreciate you joining us today, man. Looking forward to hearing what you got.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is. I mean, obviously, Florida is talent rich. Love once we hit the ground running here in 2020 because Florida always kicks us off. Preseason All-State, one of my favorite events of the year. I was watching from a distance because Doug does a great job with the live coverage. But one of the guys that I was keyed in on, Matthew Prevesk, Florida commit. I think he has a chance to be a two-way guy, but super athletic. Doug, tell us about him.
Yeah, he just hit for this event. We've seen him pitch in the past and definitely has a chance to make an impact there. But offensively, he's continued to make a big jump. Bat to ball skills have continued to improve, and the strength is there. He had a triple off the center field wall, and he's a really easy strider. He looked like a lot of guys probably would have stopped at second, but he got into third really easily. So the speed play is maybe a little bit better than the present grade of where he was. He ran like a 6'9", and the strength is there. Really long, lean frame, and a lot to like. Just present leverage, simple, with a lot of upside, both on the hit side and some power.
6'9" on that legendary slow track at IMG, but also the wind always blows out there too. Great place to hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Well, another guy that you had stand out at the preseason All-State event, which he is now going to show off in Chicago this week at the Super 60. That's Shawn Williams. 90 to 93 for you, Doug, if I'm not mistaken. I remember seeing him in the fall. We had him at the event there in Lakeland that I'm blanking on, the Diamond Club showcase.
Yeah.
But loose arm, sharp breaking ball, sounds like you saw some more of that.
Yeah, he was good at Diamond Club and didn't quite. I mean, he showed a little bit more of that velocity, and he's kind of one of those guys that's just slowly made a few ticks up. And Shooter and I saw him the very first event of the summer last year with Gator Ball, and he was a kid that you go uncommitted at that point in time, committed to UNF shortly after, and he was a guy that you go, man, you really liked him because he was projectable at 6'2", maybe a little shorter than that, but it's a projectable frame, and he had a feel for three pitches. He could really spin it, feel for a changeup. He commanded the fastball. At that point in time, it was 86 to 88 mostly, and he's still doing that and has now gotten a bit more physical, still some projection left, and it's a lot of those numbers play really well. As we mentioned, it was all the way up to almost 2,800 on spin rate on some of those fastballs, and really, it was a really like 2750s, a lot of 25s, 2600s. I mean, he had some really high spin. You're starting to dive into those analytics more, and you realize, man, there's a reason why he was getting swing and misses at 86, 88. You can see that a little bit more in depth there during the preseason All-State.
Interesting stuff. When you talk about him, adding some strength, physicality, getting more of it is certainly a big part of the game. Brody Dontae has grown 6 inches, in recent months, which has really kind of helped him jump out to scouts. Yeah,
well, he was a guy that I think Shooter saw him too a little bit at our preseason All-State last year, and he's guys you like behind the plate originally. He's kind of lanky and athletic and used the long arms as leverage offensively, and he moved okay, and he's really, looks like one of those giraffes on ice skates, a little bit as he's moving around and kind of has no idea where all the limbs are, but once he gets gathered, he was up to 91 across the infield, and it was electric. And one of those where you go, hey, Brody, have you, I walked over and kind of pulled him aside and say, hey, have you pitched at all yet? Have anybody jumped you on the mound? He's, no, not yet. He goes, well, you're going to today. So it was one of those where, hey, look, if if it's not any good, we'll pretend like it never happened. And if it is, now we're here talking about it. First couple pitches were 86, 85, touched 87. Kid who never thrown before really in his life. And it's one of those where you go, there's a lot to like there. He's probably 6'5" now and a big time upside. So I'll be really interested to see how he progresses this spring and if they utilize him a little bit on the mound there at Lakeland Christian.
Interesting. And to note that he is uncommitted in the 2022 class. I imagine that won't last very long based on the reports coming out of preseason All-State. But one more guy from that event to mention, an uncommitted 2021 in Ben Brown, and yet again, gotten more physical is your note.
Yeah, he was a kid who has come to some events in the past, and you go, okay, a little undersized, a little, needs to get some strength. I don't want to say weak for 15, but it's one of those you need to mature and needs to get stronger. And you're like, okay, some of the actions work, and he's definitely put on. There's still a lot more to go, and still plenty of upside. But he was just a kid who, it was a really simple swing, and the strength really helped, and it translated to 3 hits during his outing at the preseason All-State.
And Doug, one of the big events that I was locked in on, couldn't help but be following along, was the Cannons tryout that you were at. The arms that were at that thing were unreal. You had southpaws, big velo, some real dudes there that you saw. Tell us a little bit about a couple of those guys.
Yeah, so the Scout Day with Cannons, it's a great event. You get a chance to see everybody in one organization during the day. So it's ones we really like to do. We get a chance to interact with all the coaches and kind of have an idea who to lock in on. And one of the guys that I've got to give a lot of credit to, Nick James, who runs the Cannons, about saying, hey, Doug, this kid's really made some big jumps recently, was Jake Clemente. And he did not disappoint. The bullpen on Friday, I don't think he had a pitch under 90. It was 90 to 91 pretty much the entire time. And I think out of the 8, 9 fastballs he threw, 4 to 5 of them were at 100% spin efficiency. It was a really, truly backspin fastball that's going to make some more big jumps, because he's 6'2" and really loose and easy. So, yeah, he was really impressive. And, another one was one of those left-handers. There's a lot of left-handers that jumped in, and that was Chris Senta, and he's another one. Jake Clemente committed to Florida shortly right after the event, and they were covering and doing that. And Senta was another one who we've seen in the past, and is a big, stocky, strong left-hander, but has some baby fat, maybe you can say, and it could really mature. But right now it's a really quiet, calm head, a loose, easy left-handed arm, 3/4 slot, and a feel for 3 pitches. And Miami jumped all over that. It's a guy that's there's not a lot downside there. One of those few low floor high school arms, it seems like, because he throws strikes with 3 pitches. It's 84, 86, and it's a big frame. So yeah, definitely a lot to like that weekend as well.
Excellent. Well, great stuff on the winter events there, Doug. Obviously, you guys get going in a couple of weeks with the Florida Preseason Classic, which you guys watching, if you haven't looked at the teams that are coming, it's definitely very noteworthy. So, Doug, real quick, just tell us a little bit about what to expect from the Preseason Classic.
Real quick, I would say talent. It's if other than that, it's going to be a deep dive, because it's about as much talent as you're going to find in one spot in the state of Florida all spring. It's 9 of the top 25 teams across the state. I would say 27 to 30 of the top 150 prospects in the country will be there from our last count. I think there may be a couple others. So look for big arms, big bats, and a lot of radar guns behind the home plate with the live broadcast. That'll be on Twitter. So make sure follow along. Every single game will be broadcast live on PBR Florida's Twitter.
Perfect. Yeah, 3rd annual. I'm looking forward to coming down for a couple of days to check it out and see that talent. So we appreciate you joining us today, man.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Always enjoy getting on, talking some baseball with you all.
Excellent.
Thanks, Doug.
Well, for Shooter Hunt and Doug Freeman, I'm Nathan Rohde. This was Coffee and Curveballs, and until next time, we'll see you guys at the ballpark.